It is 7 a.m. You are awake, but you do not feel ready for the day. You have not said much. Your attention is slow. And until you have that first cup of coffee, you do not quite feel like yourself. Then the coffee arrives. 10 or 20 minutes later, your head feels clearer. You can answer messages. You can start working. You feel normal again. But here is the question. Did coffee give you energy? Or did it simply bring you back from a temporary caffeine withdrawal state? Caffeine can make you feel more alert, but it does not create sleep, food, or recovery inside your body. One of its main effects is to change how strongly your brain experiences sleep pressure. While you are awake, a chemical called adenosine gradually builds up in the brain. Adenosine helps signal that your body has been active for a long time and needs rest. As its influence increases, you may feel sleepy mentally, slow, and less able to focus. Caffeine temporarily blocks adenosine from acting on some of its receptors. That can make the signal of tiredness feel quieter. You may feel more awake, but the sleep pressure itself has not necessarily disappeared. Coffee may change how tired you feel, without removing the reason you are tired. This distinction matters, especially if you drink coffee every day. At first, one cup may feel powerful. Later, the same cup may feel much less noticeable. You may start choosing a stronger roast, a larger drink, an extra shot, or a second cup in the afternoon. This is where caffeine tolerance can enter the picture. Tolerance does not mean that every coffee a drinker will keep increasing their intake. It means that repeated exposure can make the same amount feel less effective for some people. And once the afternoon cup begins to affect your sleep, a cycle can develop. You sleep less. You feel more tired the next morning. You depend more heavily on coffee to get started. Then you may need coffee again later in the day. The next morning begins with even more fatigue. Coffee may be helping you function, but it may also be hiding the cost of insufficient sleep. Now consider what happens when you skip it. If you regularly consume caffeine and stop suddenly, you may experience withdrawal symptoms. These can include headache, drowsiness, fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. When you drink coffee again, those symptoms may improve. That improvement can feel like a burst of energy, but sometimes it is partly the relief of withdrawal. This does not mean that everyone who drinks coffee is addicted. It means that regular caffeine use can create physical adaptation in some people. So how can you tell what your coffee is doing for you? First, notice what changes after your first cup. Do you become more alert than your usual baseline? Or do a headache, heavy fatigue, and mental fog simply fade away? Second, ask whether you need more coffee than you used to get the same effect. Third, notice what happens on a day when you skip caffeine. Do you feel ordinary tiredness? Or do you develop a headache, unusual sleepiness, or trouble concentrating? Fourth, look at your sleep. If coffee is helping you cover a growing sleep deficit, adding more coffee may not solve the underlying problem. Taken together, these 4 checks lead to a clearer judgment. If coffee makes you feel more alert than your usual baseline, its stimulant effect may be the main reason you notice a change. But if coffee mainly removes a headache, heavy fatigue, or mental fog, you may be experiencing relief from caffeine withdrawal, rather than a completely new supply of energy. If you keep increasing the amount or strength to get the same effect, tolerance may be developing. And if coffee is helping you function despite too little sleep, the central problem may be uncorrected fatigue, not a lack of coffee. The conclusion is not that every coffee drinker is dependent on caffeine. The more useful conclusion is this: when withdrawal relief, rising intake, and masked sleep loss become stronger than the feeling of genuine alertness, coffee may be maintaining your baseline more than raising it. Coffee can still be an enjoyable part of a healthy routine. This video is not telling you that you must give it up. It is asking you to notice the difference between two experiences. Coffee makes me feel better than usual, and coffee helps me feel normal again. Those are not always the same thing. If you decide to cut back, reducing caffeine gradually may be more comfortable than stopping suddenly. People vary widely in caffeine sensitivity. Pregnancy, certain medical conditions, sleep problems, anxiety, and some medications can change how caffeine affects you. If any of those apply to you, discuss your caffeine intake with a healthcare professional. General adult reference limits are not personal targets for everyone. Coffee may give you a temporary lift, but sometimes it is not giving you a new supply of energy. It is lowering the feeling of tiredness or easing the discomfort that appears when your usual caffeine is missing. The goal is not to fear coffee. The goal is to understand what your cup is actually doing. When you understand your body, you make better health decisions. Discover more clear, science-based health lessons on our YouTube channel, Body Well.